660 BC, Egypt is coming to grips with the death of popular pharaoh Necho I, who died in battle fighting off an invasion by Kushite forces, while his son and only heir, Psamtik, first fled to nearby Syria. The most trusted high priests in the ancient city of Memphis prepare Necho first for his journey into the afterlife, while Egypt itself stood in the depths of anarchy without a ruling pharaoh, as the heir to the throne was hiding in nearby Syria, fearing persecution from the Kushite invaders. For the moment, Egypt was in the ruling hands of the high priests who live in Memphis. The high priests, governed by the wishes of Necho, first begin construction on his tomb, his forevermore eternal resting place. A family sacred jewel given to Necho from an enchanted sorcerer that will guarantee his safe passage to Aru is also enshrined in his burial chamber. This gemstone has a curse on it that for whoever disturbs this precious gemstone, a faith worse than death will surpass. Those who lay hands on the gemstone will not be judged in the hall of Ma'at, but will go straight to Duat, an afterlife of eternal hell, where demonic creatures reign supreme. 8 teenage children of the families of the 4 high priests discover the gemstone by accident after some hooligan behavior late at night inside the burial chamber unknown to their families. One by one, they are drawn in a hypnotic state to touch the precious aftermath, which ultimately leads to their disappearance in an instant. 1 week later, they reappear in the same underground chamber. At first, there is pure jubilation and joy at the return of the missing teenagers, who the people of Memphis feared had been taken by the soul of the departed Pharaoh Necho, first for sentencing at the hall of Ma'at, for interfering in his passage to the afterlife. The months go by. At first, everything seems normal, but after a while, the high priest families notice that their children are different and not the same before their untimely disappearance. The children seem to possess powers not of this world, and everything comes to a crescendo when their true identities come to light, for these are not the teenage children of the missing high priest families. These are demonic creatures that have assumed the identity of these lost, perished souls who forevermore cease to exist. Psamtik, first hearing of these new demonic foes that are terrorizing the people of Memphis and Egypt in a grander scale, returns to assume his rightful position as pharaoh. Psamtik, realizing that this battle cannot be won alone with the might of Egyptian forces behind him, reaches out to the Roman Emperor Domitian and Sparta ruler Eurycrates and offers them both riches beyond their dreams if they come to the aid of Egypt to win this unholy battle against these demonic overlords. A massive year-long battle occurs in the ancient city of Daphne, where after much death and destruction, all 8 demonic young adults are captured and buried in an unmarked tomb on the outskirts of the city, never to be opened, and all records of its existence to be removed from history. The demonic creatures, realizing escape was impossible, revert back to type and go into a deep state of comatose. However, all knowledge of their existence isn't erased from history altogether, and a rare one-of-its-kind manuscript comes into the possession of renowned British archaeologist and Harvard professor Donald Harkins, who believes that these demigods creatures may actually exist, and that the myth may not be fiction, but harbor some form of truth to the fable. After years of perseverance, Donald Harkins, in 1970, gets the backing of 2 major investors, Hermann Müller, an eccentric German fascist with a keen interest in exploration and rare artifacts, and American tycoon Ted Posey, who is captivated by the fable and the thought of adding the Duat gemstone to his collection. A dig begins on May 7, 1971, in northern Egypt, in a mountainous area on the outskirts of Tahpanhes, which historians lay claim to be the lost city of Daphne. After 2 months of non-stop digging and excavation, an entrance is discovered in the mountainside concealed by massive boulders and slabs of rock. On the final slab that encloses the chamber, a warning is written in hieroglyphics to turn back or face an untimely death. The warning is not obeyed, and now the touched are back, and it will take all the efforts of mankind to rid the threat of these demonic gods once and for all.